Hi, Isaac.
Hi, yeah. This is my background.
That's your background. Look at you. Are you ready to cook some stuff? You gonna have a lot of fun?
Mommy, see, we do have pictures of it.
Isaac, are you gonna help your mommy cook?
Yeah,
What's your mommy making today?
I don't know.
You don't know. You'll find out, I guess.
Hey. Let's show these.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Mish, are you cooking?
I am not cooking. I am just monitoring the. Hi, everyone. Hi, guys. The Goulds are in.
I'm staying up for the whole Zoom tonight.
You're staying for the whole Zoom?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Hi, Hannah.
You guys look perfect.
Hi, Bubby.
Good.
Bubby.
Hannah, turn off the camera.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. You're muted, but we'll unmute you. Now we.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, Bubby, I'm gonna cook something.
You're gonna cook?
Yeah.
Hi, Amy.
I'm gonna bake something else. No. No, you. No. You. I want everyone's camera.
Misha, is it too far?
It's.
Isn't it too far? Hi, Beth.
Hi, Kayla. I said, oh, I think I have to mute myself. I'm talking to Justin. How are you?
I'm doing good.
This is wonderful. I love watching these. These are great.
Thank
Beth,
you.
we don't see you, Beth. Your camera's
Okay,
off.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Misha, is there a closer?
Yeah,
You're
it was.
perfect, Mom. You're perfect.
I'll stay on, but I'm going to finish my call here. You're not starting for a few minutes, right?
Not till 8 o'clock. It's fine.
Mom, when you begin, you're going to be
doing
full
good?
screen.
Okay.
So you'll
All
be
right.
bigger when you're full screen.
Hey, Amy.
Aisha, you're going to make people big screen when they're talking?
I could, yeah. Or you could do it yourself. Make yourself spotlight because you're a host.
In order to see what she's doing, you need to zoom in a little bit more.
Okay.
I think on her camera.
You'll see. You'll see.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, we got the Parkers.
Hi, Mota. How's everybody?
Hello, hello, Bob.
Wait, I'm gonna see.
Hi.
Our favorite Uber.
Yeah.
Who's the little boy?
Hi, Kayla.
Isaac.
Hey there. What you cooking today? You said you have some secret recipe.
I have some great. I can't cook. I was just kidding you. But We watch this thing all the time.
Oh, that's good.
Love this.
Yeah.
This is so
So-
good.
So today I'm going to show everyone. I'm going to show everyone how to open a seltzer today.
There
Oh,
you
let me
go.
see.
Very
We
good.
we just go like
I can do
that,
that.
and there you go. There you have it. And we.
I have the same
Oh,
one.
hello?
I love
Hot
those.
and burning.
So good.
LaCroix is the way to
And
go.
that's how you open a seltzer.
Who's
Yeah.
that little boy? Who's that little boy?
That's Isaac.
He
That's
is
my
so
grandson.
cute.
Hi, Isaac.
How old are you?
How old are you?
5.
You are so cute.
You're smart.
Do you know how to cook?
What do you know?
Huh?
Not yet.
I know how to
I bet you do.
I don't.
cook chicken,
You know how to cook chicken?
rice.
Wow.
I think he means eat.
That is so cute.
Well, you guys have a great time. I miss you guys.
I know how to cook lemon.
What? Lemon?
Salad.
How about peanut butter and jelly? I can do that one.
Beautiful. Sweet.
No.
I like your shirt. It's very cute.
Hey.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put it on mute. Okay.
All right, we're gonna start at 8 o'clock. So a few more
Gotcha.
minutes. A few more
Gotcha.
minutes. We'll just hang around. You're welcome to chat with each other, and we'll begin soon.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, you want to see my dog? This always gets it. Here. Ziggy. Can you see him? I can't tell. Wait. Let me get over here. Can you see? I don't know if you can see Ziggy or not. It's hard to tell. I don't know how to do this real good. Oh, well. Let me see. There's Ziggy.
You see the dog?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I think so. Oh, that's funny. Look at that.
What?
Look what I did.
Look here, Dick. Look down here.
Peter, we come to you first. You had a match.
Oh,
Did you turn it on?
yeah.
Came up with which state?
This is the entertainment till it's Ziggy. Okay, Ziggy's done.
That drops you down to 63.99.
That's funny.
Go to start to finish.
I want to do puppy. I want to do it here, all the way here. Oh, I'm liking it.
Isaac, we'll let you stay up so late. Oh, look who's here.
Hey,
Look who's here.
how are
If I have to,
you?
if I stay up so late, I have to go. I have to wake up at 8 o'clock.
Well, it's almost my bedtime.
Irv, you're gonna be cooking
It's
tonight.
past my bedtime.
It's past. It's well. It's past. I'm going to be past my bedtime too pretty soon.
Irv, I've
Where
been
you-
told that you're cooking tonight.
I cooked earlier tonight. I cooked last
You're not
night.
doing the show tonight?
I don't know what's
That's
what's on
what
the
your
menu.
wife told us.
You're
You
one
know,
of the leads.
I can't say don't believe everything she says because probably I have to. So tell me what's on the menu tonight.
Well, you'll find out.
I'll find out.
Two
Yeah.
dishes. A full meal. You'll be able to make a full meal out of this.
Aye. Aye.
With dessert.
With dessert. Now you're
With
talking.
dessert. Get ready for a good
Does it say
dessert.
how much here?
Now you're talking.
Oh, it's right.
Get ready for a good dessert.
There's Efron,
Yeah, fries on.
and that's
Oh, we got Shmoli's.
Truly.
and Chaim.
Who's this?
Brat is on.
Here.
That's
No, second.
You got the Grodins on. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Till Tuesday. You don't see the Ohioans. Where did the Ohioans go? They're hiding. Shmuel, you're on mute. You know? Oh, Frat is here. Hi, Frat.
Doesn't better. I'll start front. Isaac, you want to tell Isaac?
Say Frat.
Tell Frat how you speak.
Frat, the other day I was telling Isaac, I said, this is very, very good. And he said, that sounds like Mayor. I said, your Uncle Mayor? He's like, no, the one that's in the shul, Mayor. Very good. Right? Stephanie?
Yeah. I know what I'm doing.
No, don't. If someone doesn't want, you don't do it. Ah, you're on mute. You have to unmute. Meir. Oh,
Hi, Efrat.
we don't hear you, Efrat.
You're on mute.
These kids know how to use it better than us.
Can you read what everything is here?
Everyone's stuff. לא שומעים. לא שומעים.
Tati, could we do a background? Tati, you
Let's see.
I want to do it.
Okay, we're going live on Facebook now, so that those who can watch us via Facebook.
Like a good background. Like a good
No,
background.
we can't do that.
Sleep, sleep.
Because we're waiting. It's live on Facebook.
On my mother's page, you're welcome to follow on Facebook if you would like that way.
Hi, Marilyn. And is that Barbara Miller from Florida? Arlene, hi. Hi, Harvey.
You're on mute. We couldn't hear you.
18. There's
Who's
18.
on mute? Am I on mute?
No, Barbara was.
Oh, Barbara.
To manage participants.
Great. All right.
There's 18 people. I heard it was very
We'll start in five minutes.
Yeah, we'll let a few more people come on, and then we will begin.
Why?
It's a people.
Mommy, you're also gonna go? Mommy, you're the host. My chef.
Kayla.
Okay.
Mommy, how many people?
Minutes, and we shall begin.
You're also gonna go? Tati, please turn on your camera. I want you to be on the Zoom. Tati, can you be on the Zoom on your phone?
Yeah.
Can you do it? Can you be on your? You do a Zoom on? Can you do the? Can you be in the Zoom deal on your phone? In the other room, go.
Everyone hears you.
Okay, I think we're ready to begin. I'm going to lead this off to my mother, and without further ado, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad to be able to share Sasonkin favorites, some of our Sasonkin favorites with everybody. And talking about Sasonkin favorites for Shavuot, we're doing it for the holiday of Shavuot. And when we talk about the holiday of Shavuot, we actually makes us think about the holiday and kind of be mindful of what it's all about. And the holiday is the giving of the 10 Commandments. God gave the 10 Commandments to the Jewish people. And when he did, he said to Moses, Kov Tomar Lebeit Yaakov. He said, teach it to the women first. Teach it to the women first, because when the women will be excited about it, will know about it, and they will be able to give it over to everybody, and they will ensure that Judaism continues and Jewish continuity will be, because the women really know how to do it much better than the men. So we wanted to say this is kind of like a holiday for women as well, with highlighting women, and what better way can a woman be inviting and make holidays and Judaism exciting, if not with food, one of the ways. So we are bringing to you the Shavuot cooking demo so that we could add excitement to our holiday and gain new ideas of new fun and exciting and delicious recipes. So without further ado, we're going to introduce one after another. Each girl is going to introduce the next one. And the first one is my daughter, Michaela, from Orlando, Florida, a great cook and a fantastic mom of 4 beautiful children. Woo! So Michaela is on for the first demo.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm really excited to be here in my kitchen. So the first thing we're going to be making today is going to be garlic knots. It's not like the hardest recipe. It's just, you could take any basic dough that you have in your grocery store or or you can make your own dough, whatever you want. This is a cooking show, so I already made my dough. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it out, some of it. I'm gonna take apart a piece, probably the size of like a small ball. I'm just gonna take a little bit of flour in my hands because it's a little bit sticky. So I'm just gonna rub it around, take the dough, roll it into a long rope like you're making challah, but it's just gonna be a knot like this. Sometimes I like to get creative with my knots. It's gonna look like just cute little roll like that. It could be bigger, it could be smaller. Sometimes I like to get like, sometimes I'll do 2 strips and then make it look a little bit nicer. Like here's one, and here's 2, like this. I'll put them together and I'll wrap it together. Sometimes I'm just gonna do that again. Sometimes I'll take 2 and like twist them together so they kind of look like a twist. This kind of reminds me of the concept that during the Shavuot holiday, we remember the first time that God and the Jewish people were united together. It was their first real relationship, and we're like tied together, which is a cool thing, So we're just gonna keep doing that and make all the cool garlic knots all fancy and nice. I could do 1, I could do 2. Just tie it in a knot just like that. Put it on the tray right here. Not the nicest tray, but we're making do. I'm just gonna do it till I fill up the tray. Really, really easy. You could do this with any dough that you get from the store. Rhodes dough, you could do this with pizza dough, challah dough. This is a dough that I got from the internet, so it works really well. I'm just gonna do 6 for now. It just looks like that on the pan. Then, I'm just gonna get some oil. I'm gonna put the rolls onto the foil so that I don't get the pan messy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this is the main part. This is what's really going to make a difference. Usually when you make garlic knots, you can brush the knots with the garlic mixture before, which is what I'm gonna do, or most people just do it after it's baked, and then it just gives it a garlic flavor, but I'm gonna do it before and after, so that it has like an extra, like really strong garlicky flavor. So I made this at home. This is garlic with, I use margarine, but you can use butter to make it dairy. I have parsley in there, and I have salt, and it's really, when you make it, I put it on the stove and I warmed it up until the garlic was fragrant, and it really, really smells really good when you're making it. So I'm just gonna take like an egg brusher and just dip it into my garlic. Make sure you scoop the garlic pieces out. I used garlic powder, and I also used crushed garlic, or I like zhuzh it in a food processor, so it's like a paste. So I'm just brushing it over. You can also just sprinkle some parsley if you want to give it extra flavor. I'm just brushing all of them very generously with the garlic mixture. I'm just gonna brush them all really, really well. Then I'm going to put them in the oven. And guys, I made an entire tray just for this show. And this is the only one that I have left to show you. Just to say how good these are. These are like, it's like crispy on the outside and really soft and moist on the inside. It's really, really good. I just brushed it after it was finished with a little bit of the garlic mixture again. And it is literally, it's gone, basically. That's my point. Okay. Okay, moving on to my next thing, which is also really, this is the easiest thing you're ever, not ever, but it's really, really simple, and it tastes really, really good. Everyone's gonna ask for the recipe. I'm just gonna take a knife, open up this. I'm using a big slab of salmon because my family likes salmon. But if you're gonna use a smaller one, that also works. Fillets work. I'm using a big one. I'm just gonna wash it off really quickly in the sink because it's fresh. Second. Okay, and I'm gonna get some foil. Cover the pan. I'm gonna place my salmon really flat on the tray, just like this. It's a little big for this tray, but it's totally okay. I'll go a little bit more back. Okay, perfect. Then here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to sprinkle a drop, not so much, of olive oil. Just a little drizzle. Wait, I'm gonna show you. Just a little drizzle, like all along the salmon, like literally not like maybe a tablespoon over this whole thing, and this is a big one. So maybe if you're doing like a fillet or 2 fillets or 3 fillets, you want to do like 1 or 2 teaspoons. Then I'm going to sprinkle it with salt. Also, it's like everything is just sprinkling it right on, just to give it a nice flavor. Then I'm going to use some onion powder, just a little sprinkle. Then I'm going to use garlic powder, also just a little sprinkle. Paprika, however you say it. Just a little sprinkle to give it some color. Some people could use smoked paprika, that also works. I sometimes like to use a little bit of chili powder to make it like a little bit spicier. Then, where am I? Oh, then the last secret ingredient to this is everything but the bagel spice. This is a new one. 1 second. This is really gonna kick it out of the park. Here we go. Just gonna open it right up. This gives it like, this is like everything that you just put on there times 10. So it tastes really good and amplifies the fish flavor and all the other flavors in there. Oh, this is the last thing. We're also gonna put a little bit of lemon juice. Just gonna cut it in half. We're just gonna squeeze the juice of 1 lemon right onto the salmon. I like to use fresh lemons. You definitely can use regular lemon juice that you buy in the store. It also works really like generous with the lemon juice. Not too much. Probably it's like, I don't know, 2 tablespoons with regular lemon juice. This is fresh, so juice of 1 lemon. And I don't have a picture of this one, but it comes out really, really good. You put it in the oven on 400 for 20 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes, depending on the thickness of your salmon. If you have like a smaller fillet, I put it in for like 18 minutes, sometimes even 15 minutes, but it comes out really, really good. I'm gonna put this in the oven so it doesn't spoil, but hope you all enjoy your holiday and enjoy the rest of the show. And now I'm going to introduce my mother-in-law to show you some of her special recipes from Akron.
Thank you, Kyla. That was great. And I'm looking forward to trying that garlic nuts. We've never tried that one before. And of course, the everything salmon. Sounds wonderful. We have here a few dips that we're going to be making. And those go very well with, I'm sure, garlic nuts. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to be making green goddess dip. And it is a dairy dip. The dairy for the holiday of Shavuot, which is customary to eat dairy foods. And also the connection to the green goddess is that Mount Sinai, the mountain that God gave the 10 Commandments on, was a very bare mountain. And when God gave the 10 Commandments, miraculously, it said it just became, it blossomed with so much greenery. So we're doing our green dairy dip today. All right, so the first thing we do is we have a bunch of parsley. This is about, we stuffed it in here. A nice amount, large handful, which we already washed, and we check for bugs. We make sure it's very clean. And we're going to put that into our food processor. It's a very quick, easy dip. Then we have a little bit of basil, a handful of basil, which was also washed and checked and made sure that it is clean and kosher for bugs. And we have our green onion or scallions, two of these. We'll just chop them up real quick and put them in. They were already washed, but we'll put them in here to make it easier. And this recipe calls for 1 garlic. If you like it more garlicky, then you can put more in. If you eat it with garlic nuts, you may not want to put more garlic in it. A little bit of salt. And then we have about a tablespoon of lemon. And lemon is very good if you squeeze it ahead of time. It becomes much more juicy. So we're going to do that. And make sure that we don't get the pits in here. Squeeze this out. Get about a tablespoon of lemon. If you like it more lemony, you can add a little bit more. Here we have some lemon juice. There we go. And to make it dairy, we're going to add cream cheese and either Greek yogurt, if you like that, or if you like sour cream. I happen to like the sour cream. Greek yogurt people like because it might be more healthier. But either way you want, it's a cup of cream cheese, and this is about a cup, it's already pre-measured. Cup of cream cheese, and it thickens it a bit. And also the sour cream gives a very nice, smooth texture. And that's about a half a cup of sour cream. And here they are. We're going to food process it, and in about 1 minute, it will be ready. Very good with any kind of dairy meal, salmon. This is the salmon. You may want to put this on top of the salmon. This is good, just like that. And it's not very, it doesn't, here. This is what it looks like over here. And if you let it zhuzh a little bit more, then it's going to get very, very fine. And right over here is our end result of our beautiful dip. It's a mint color, beautiful green, and that is our green rotted dip. And now that this is my dairy section, I'm going to move everything off for a minute and move on to the other section, which is made with meat. So give me 1 minute. All right. Just get everything over here. Our next dip is a very easy dip. It is an olive dip, and it's got 2 ingredients in it, and I will tell it to you in a minute. Anna? Take this off this, this other one. Okay, I'm just gonna change my gloves and be ready for my olive dip. So this olive dip is a favorite in our family for Shabbos, for holidays, and chose the olive dip today because olives has something to do with Shavuot. Can you guess? Well, on the holiday of Shavuot, in the times of the temple, the Jewish people used to go up 3 times a year, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. And when they used to go up on the holiday of Shavuot, they brought a basket of bikurim. Bikurim are the fruits that Israel is praised for. So it's pomegranates, grapes, olives, dates and figs, wheat and barley. And so we are doing our olive dip for that. And we have, and all our recipes will be given to you afterwards, so you should know. It's literally just olives and Hellmann's mayonnaise. So we're gonna put our olives in. We already drained them. Olives with pimento makes it very pretty. You can use black olives, but the pimento adds a little bit of tiny red dots. And about a cup of mayonnaise. And this lasts a long time in the refrigerator, so it's really worth it to make a little bit larger batch, and then you'll just have it for a couple of weeks. All right. It's a minute, not even. You can do it grainy, or you can do it very fine. You can do it grainy, or you can do it very fine. And that's it. That's our green, that's our olive dip right over here. So pretty. And you can serve it at your table, ready to eat, delicious. My kids can't get enough of it. So it's a wonderful, fast, and easy dip. The next one, let me just take this out for a minute because I'm going to need this food processor. The next we're going to do is mock chopped liver. Mock chopped liver, why am I choosing that? Because if we're going to choose to make a dairy dip, then a dairy dinner, then of course chopped liver, which is a favorite, cannot be eaten together with dairy. So we're making mock chopped liver. And some people feel it's a little healthier too, because our mock chopped liver is made with 4 ingredients. And the main ingredient there is the lentils, which are the healthy part. Okay. Here's our mock chopped liver ingredients. Okay, so the first thing we do is we're going to take a large onion or 2 small onions, and that ends up being about 3 cups, this much. And we take it, we put it into a frying pan with a 1/2 cup of oil. And that much of onions, which are pre-cut up already, that much of onion just makes 1 cup of sauteed onion. So after it's sauteed, it comes down to 1 cup. We're going to put the sauteed onions together with toasted almonds, 1 cup. It's basically even, equal measures. And 1 cup of already cooked lentils. And just know that when you cook the lentils, this is the amount that's going to end up being like this. So you have to put some water in it, let it soak. It just expands, and in a few hours, you just cook it, and it ends up being this amount. And then 4 eggs, which ends up being about 1 cup. And we're going to mix them all together with some salt and pepper, and voila, you'll have your mock chop liver. Now, some people, I've seen many recipes with the mock chop liver made with not lentils, but made with green beans or peas. I've never tried that, so I don't know how that works, but you're welcome to try it and let me know. So we have the lentils, the toasted walnuts, and the eggs we put in already, and the sauteed onions, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper, however much you like. And let's see, in just a few minutes, you have mock chop liver. Now, I do like to make a big pot of these things, not small amounts, because a lot of these things are able to be used or kept frozen, and then I just can take it out of my fridge or freezer and use it for other things, or use it for this recipe again at another time. And once you're making your frying pan dirty, you might as well make it a little bit more at a time, so you can use it for another recipe. All right, I did say almonds by mistake. It was walnuts. It was toasted walnuts. And our mock chop liver, if you like it grainy a little bit, you can have it like that. Or if you want a little bit more smooth, if you want a little more oil on it, you can have a little bit more oil, add a little bit more oil. But it is a pretty good consistency of mock chop liver, and you can dress it up. You can mock chop liver right over here. You can dress it up with some eggs and some parsley. And I also made a little bit of a hole over here, and then we poured some of the onion from the oil from the onion into that area, which makes it taste very good. So that is our mock chop liver. And our last one, on the side over here. And our last dip, not dip, but something that's good to eat with the dips, the first course, and with the challah, is our marinated eggplant. And our marinated eggplant, I want to just say that this is in memory of Marion DeJure, who used to be here and help us in the kitchen in the shul for many years. And this was her recipe. And so many people have used it since, and at the synagogue it's used all the time. Brat's our #1 chef there and uses it, and everybody's like, oh, what's the recipe? Well, I'm going to give you the recipe over here, and it'd be great if you want to use it and enjoy it for the holiday. So the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to take a big eggplant and cut it up into slices. Now, it's such a big fat eggplant, I would cut it in half, or you can, if you want, the large circles, you're welcome to. Sometimes I cut the circles, the smaller ones, and then the larger ones, I cut them in half moons. And typically, this is a very Israeli food, and it's a treat. In Israel, when I was in Israel, so many people had chatzilim, which is eggplant, in so many different ways. And this was one of the ways. I'm cut this in half. And they would fry it. They would deep fry it. But me and deep frying, I don't think it goes together. After I had a little fire from deep frying, I said, no way. So we started to broil them oil them a little bit and then broil them. And that also didn't work for me because when I do too many things at one time, it's so much easier to burn. So I found another technique, and that's oven fry. So we paint these with oil and we put them in an oven for about 400, 450, depending on your oven, how hot it is, for about 20 minutes. And it bakes on both sides, front and back. And it's so much safer, and it works the same way for me. Okay, so this is our oil, and pretty much you want to make sure that the eggplant is coated in oil so that it does not dry and it gets moist. You see what I'm doing? Okay. And you could be generous. You could let it fall over. If it gets too oily after it's baked, you can always put a paper towel and drain it a little bit, but it does help to keep it soft. And the oil will go on the bottom. You're welcome to flip them over and do them as well on the other side. But this is the way it looks. It goes into the oven for about 20 minutes. And voila, it comes out like this. Just like this. This is the way it comes out. So there you have to put it on a flat sheet. But over here, when we're going to actually make the dip, then you can layer them on top of each other. And now we're going to do the sauce real quick and show you how that's made. Okay, so the sauce for this, well, when I was in Israel, the sauce for this was only, that I remember, was only vinegar and water and garlic, maybe some parsley. And Efrat could tell us what other kinds of dip sauces they make there, but I never really saw the tomato sauce there, but I'm sure there is. But this one, I'm going to start it off with the garlic and with the marinade, just the vinegar water. And then some people in my family like that. And then some people like the sweeter one. So I start off one way and I end it the other way. So here it goes. This one is 2 cups of water. 2 cups of water. This is ½ cup of vinegar, distilled white vinegar. About a teaspoon of salt. And that would go on to the main dish if that is what you wanted, but we're doing the one with the tomato sauce. That was Marian's. That's the one that we learned from Marian. And this goes the ketchup. It's about a cup, a little over a cup of ketchup. And some sugar to help take away the tartness. And mix that up. And that is our sauce. And we add to it, for every eggplant, we add 1 garlic. So we slice it up so we get the flavor and put it on all over, and it will marinate itself. And here is, you don't need so much. This is actually a measurement for 2 eggplants. But here is our, okay, so here's our sauce, and I'm going to add some things to make it pretty and tasty. Just some already pre-washed parsley. Gives it a nice flavor. Some people like cilantro in it. And some peppers. And if you let that marinate in the refrigerator, it also stays for a good few weeks, and it's wonderful. And here is the one with just the liquid, and here's the one with the marinade with just the vinegar, and here's the one with a little bit of the sauce, and that's how we present it. And I think this is all for today. And enjoy. I hope some of you can make it, and we'd love to hear some of your recipes. And now, without further ado, I'm going to pass on the mic to my daughter-in-law, Rachel from Kent, who's just moved to Kent, and she's gonna take it away.
Hi everyone, welcome. So nice to be here with all of you. We're excited. Today we are going to be making butternut squash soup. Now, I personally I don't like spending so much time in the kitchen, and I'm always on the lookout for quick, easy recipes, and especially delicious ones. And this butternut squash soup is super easy. There is a more complicated one on the recipe card if you like it with more texture, flavor. But this one I'm going to be showing you doesn't take so many steps and is not so many different ingredients. So usually ingredients that most people, I hope, have on hand and could maybe make in honor of a holiday. So the first step is to take a butternut squash, a raw butternut squash, and put it in the oven at around 350 degrees for 2 hours or until it's decently soft. It took in my oven 2 hours, so that's what I think that you should usually take. Then when it's all soft inside, you take it out and you can like slice it open, and it should be very soft, like almost like a pizza. And this is what the inside should look like. And you bring it to your food processor and scoop out the seeds, which I've already done. And you simply scoop the inside of the butternut squash into the food processor. And it's very soft. It should come out very easily. And there we go. That's one side. And then you take the other half of the butternut squash. And the good thing, the thing that I like about this part of the soup is that you don't have to keep an eye on the butternut squash. You can literally just stick them in the oven and just forget about them. And like I put them on this morning, and then I just did my regular day. And then at lunchtime, I was like, right, I have butternut squash in the oven for my soup. And then and even if you leave them over a bit, they don't really burn usually. Pretty easy, like it's a very easy vegetable to bake. Then you take sauteed onions, and this is a hack I learned from my mother-in-law actually, that when you make sauteed onions, or when you make anything really, just make it in bulk because it's so much easier. You could just keep it in the fridge, the freezer, and then you just have it always on hand. So these sauteed onions actually I made just before this cooking show started. But in general, if you would like, if you're making a soup and you just want to make it quickly without having to think about it too much, it's just much easier if you just take your sauteed onions out of the fridge or freezer, and then you have them ready, and then that's half the recipe already made. So you take your sauteed onions and you add them to the food processor. I've fried, for every butternut squash, I would say 2 small onions or 1 large onion. And the trick really for the sauteed onions that gives it a very, very rich flavor is depending on how much oil you use. So I'd say the more oil, the more of like a richer, I think it brings out I just found this, that I just realized this, from the more oil I use, the more heavier flavor brings out in the butternut squash. So that's those 2 ingredients, and those are the 2 main ingredients. And the last ingredient is simply salt and pepper, which you can add according to however much you want. And you can also add cinnamon if you would like, or any other type of greens or any other type of spice you like with butternut squash. I like keeping it simple so that you just have the basic taste of the butternut squash, which I think is the best taste of the butternut squash soup. And then you twist your blender closed and you mix. I would generally mix it for like 1 to 2 minutes, basically till all the onions are completely blended. So these are almost blended. I'm just going to give it another minute. All right, and there you have your soup. And in honor of Shavuot, if you guys have this available, I actually tried to get this recipe to look for it, but unfortunately they didn't have it. But you can do, whether you're doing a dairy meal or a meaty meal, you can add sour cream to it, like a dollop of sour cream on the top of every bowl. And I think it just gives it a really nice look. You can also sprinkle or garnish it with greens, like basil, cilantro, and it just makes it look really good. One last thing I'd say is that depending on the thickness of however thick you want your soup to be. So as you can see, this is a very thick puree, which is how I like my butternut squash soup. But you can add water, however much water you feel like to thin it out. And then it can become a smoother soup. Or also, if you would like some more texture or flavor, you can put sweet potatoes in the oven and just wrap them up in silver foil. At the same time that you're putting a butternut squash in, you could just stick a couple of the sweet potatoes in and let them cook for around an hour. And then you can, again, just slice them open, put in the insides, and blend that with the butternut squash, and it gives it also a really, really good flavor. So for example, just to show you how you can garnish it, I don't have any fresh parsley on me, but you can even use the flakes and just sprinkle it on top, and it gives a really, really nice look. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope that that will be something that would be nice to add to your Chag meal. And enjoy the rest of the show. I'll now be introducing my sister-in-law, Chana Sasonkin, from Akron, Ohio, and she'll be showing you what she'll be making.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to be making 2 salads today. One is going to be a spring salad, and one is going to be, I call it the everything in one salad. So I'm going to start with the everything in one salad. So I'm going to start with lettuce. Now, the way I like to cut lettuce is that, before we do that, make sure that you wash and check your lettuce because bugs aren't kosher, and you should make sure there's no bugs in there. And a way that I like to cut the lettuce is I like to stack them up and just kind of roll it over. And I like to cut them very thin slices, because it just makes it much easier to eat the salad, and that's just how I like it. If you want, you can cut it in bigger chunks, whatever works for you. And you just stick that into your bowl. And then what's gonna go inside here, we're gonna put some avocado right into that bowl, some cucumbers. We're gonna put eggs. Now the eggs that go in the salad are, you boil the water, and you put in your eggs for about 8 minutes. And every second that the eggs are in the shell, it's cooking. So I like to have mine still a little like juicy-ish, and then it hardens a little bit in the shell. And that's just how I like mine. If you want, you can do hard-boiled, but I like mine soft-boiled. And then the next thing I'm going to do is sweet potato. So I have roasted sweet potato that I put in the oven with some salt and pepper. And the next thing I'm going to do is roasted chickpeas. So the way I made these chickpeas are, I put them with oil, salt, pepper, and paprika in the oven on 400 for about 10 minutes. And it makes it very delicious. And that's really simple. And that's it for the inside of the salad. Now the dressing. The dressing is equal parts of oil, honey, mustard, and vinegar. So I put 4 tablespoons, and just kind of give that a mix. And that's your dressing. But before I made, a couple of hours ago, I took onions and I put them in my dressing to give them to be marinated onions, and it makes the salad delicious. Either you can put regular onions in and not marinate it, but that's what I did. So that is my dressing that I made earlier before. I'm going to pour that onto my salad. I'm going to mix up my salad here. And why I call it the everything in one salad is that because you could put anything literally in the salad, and you could put all types of roasted vegetables, anything, and it's very filling, you've got the protein in there, and it's really delicious. So that's for that salad. Now we're gonna move on to the spring salad. So the spring salad, we're gonna have spinach and strawberries. And we have toasted pecans that I put in the oven for about 10 minutes, and onions. And to make it dairy for Shavuot, we're gonna have feta cheese. We're gonna put that in after. So the dressing for this is gonna be a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, 3 tablespoons of oil, 1.5 tablespoons of poppy seeds. It calls for 1.5 tablespoons of honey, but it's a little bit vinegary from the vinegar that we put in. So I put in a little bit more honey. I put in about like 2.5 tablespoons just to make it a bit more sweet. And we're gonna put in 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard and some salt and pepper. Just sprinkle that in. And we're gonna mix that up. And because it's a very strong dressing, we're just gonna kind of drizzle, not the whole thing, but kind of drizzle it over the salad and give it a little mix. And there you have your spring salad. So we've got our spring salad here and our everything in one salad right here. I hope you enjoyed. And now I'm gonna pass it over to my sister-in-law Mushki from Parkland, Florida.
Feta cheese.
Oh, feta cheese, you're right. I forgot the feta cheese. Just sprinkle the feta cheese in, and that's it. Mushki, take it away.
There you go.
Okay,
Is it
thank
clear?
you.
Is it clear, Maisha?
Yeah. it's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, so I chose, first of all, thank you everyone for joining. I chose 2 dairy dishes in honor of Shavuot. Firstly, Shavuot is when we got the Torah, we got the laws of kashrus, and it was Shabbos. And meat, it was hard to kosher, and it's just a little more complicated. So dairy is easy, grab and go, grab your yogurt, have some milk. So I'm gonna start with tahini milkshake, frappuccino. Super simple and delicious. So we're gonna start with, I dissolved already 2 teaspoons of coffee in 1/2 cup of water. We're gonna add dates, 3 dates. Make sure to check them, that there's nothing inside, you know they're already pitted. We're gonna do tahini, 2 tablespoons. Another reason why I chose to do dairy is just like a mother feeds her baby milk, it's nourishing for the baby. So the Torah we got on Shavuot, it's nourishing for our soul. That's why, another reason why we do that. 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a sprinkle of cinnamon, 1/2 cup of half and half milk. It just gives it a nice creamy flavor. Another thing that I actually tested before, that you're supposed to blend it with the 2 cups of ice, and because you can't do that on Shavuot, I tried it out. Actually, I blended it without the ice and left it out a whole day. And I guess because of the dates and the tahini, it still had a nice creamy texture. So you could always pre-blend it before, and for the meal or whenever you want, serve it over ice, or you could blend it with the ice. I'll do it that way. Cover it, and we're gonna blend that. Quick. Okay, so blend that enough that the ice is still a little there, but smooth enough. Now I like to just plate my stuff nicely. So 2 options, you know, a glass mug, always nice, or get this from Amazon. I like making it, putting it in here. Feels like I went to a cafe, got a nice drink. So, top it with some whipped cream and some halva. And another sprinkle of cinnamon. There you have it. A perfect little frappuccino. L'chaim. Okay, next, I'm just gonna clear this up. Next, I'm gonna do a pasta dish. Fairly simple. I already pre-measured and I already cooked the pasta, and I'll just show you how I put it together. Okay, so here I have my fettuccine pasta that I already cooked. Isaac, you can come here. Okay, so the fettuccine pasta calls for roasted cherry tomatoes and roasted eggplant. On a large baking sheet, I took my cherry tomatoes, sliced them half lengthwise, sprinkled it with salt and pepper, a little olive oil. I baked it. I roasted it at 450 for 15 minutes, and the eggplant also on 450, but for a half hour. The eggplant just needed more time, and I prefer to use a real tray versus a disposable cooking tray. I just feel like it gives it a good caramelization, and it just makes it really nice. Here, that's just going to be our taste tester. Our drink. Take a puff of chocolate. Coffee, Jordan, too much. What do you want to tell everyone?
It's yummy.
Okay. So here are my 2 roasted eggplant, roasted red pepper. Now for the dressing, I take a mason jar, a half a cup of olive oil that I'm going to put inside, 2 cloves of garlic, and I did not have Italian seasoning, but I made my own with oregano, basil, thyme. I just Googled that. And that's a half a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. Put that inside. Yep. So that was 3 ingredients. It was the garlic, oil, and the Italian seasoning. And I'm going to pour that over the pasta. Okay. As well as put my roasted pepper, roasted eggplant, roasted cherry tomatoes. You can see that it has some nice color. And I'm going to garnish it with feta cheese to make that dairy touch. And that is all. Fettuccine pasta with roasted eggplant, which is almost like fried eggplant the way I did it on 450. The roasted cherry tomatoes with Italian dressing. Again, super simple, but just hits the spot. Enjoy. Happy Shavuot. And now, Masti Sasonkin, Akron, Ohio. Take it away.
Hi everyone. Good to see everybody who came to join from near and far, even though we're kind of all in the same place right now. So I'm going to be showing you a really easy and fun Shavuot recipe for a cheesecake, which is I like to call it a triangle cheesecake. I love this recipe because it's so easy, but also I grew up with making this cheesecake since as long as I can remember. It's so easy that as kids we would help my mother make it. And so if you're a family with little children around, this is a great Shavuot activity for them. You can even make it on Shavuot. You don't have to cook, so it's no bake. So I'm going to show you let's get started. So first I'm going to show you here the finished product just so you can see what we're making. The reason it's called a triangle cheesecake, as you can see, it's a triangular log. And when you slice it, the shapes are triangles. Kind of almost reminds me of maybe like a Hamantash kind of shape. There is also, you can also make it flat, like layers. I made a little one here just to show you, and I'll show you soon when I cut it open. It will just be layers of the cookies and cream, which is the ingredients in this recipe. So I'm going to start by showing you how to make the dip for our cookies. The cookies that we use in this recipe are these tea biscuits. If you live in Akron, you can find these at Giant Eagle in the kosher aisle. Really, I mean, you probably all know these. And then we're going to make a dip to wet our cookies when we put them on it to make our layers. So our dip is a cup of milk over here. Then we have coffee. And then we gotta get a good splash of this stuff, which you could either use brandy, rum, whiskey. I grew up actually using wine. When I grew up, we only did milk and wine. We didn't use the coffee, but I recently saw someone who also did it with coffee. I love that idea. Who doesn't like coffee? Who doesn't like these two? I mean, we could stop the recipe right here. This is all you need in life. No, we'll continue. So I'm gonna pour coffee in here. And we're going to give, this is about a tablespoon or two of coffee, just dissolved in a little bit of hot water. I'm going to just eye this, give it a little splash, but it's about a teaspoon or two, depending how much you like in there. And that's it. That's our little dip for our cookies. Before we actually start assembling our cheesecake, I'm going to prepare the filling, which is 4 ingredients. We have our cream cheese here, which I just used whipped cream cheese. You can also use the block cream cheese. You might want to just whip it a little bit to get it smooth beforehand. I'm going to throw in here about 2 cups of already whipped, like whipped topping. This is not dairy. You can use dairy, like heavy cream whipped up. I'm going to use this just to go for a little bit of a lighter flavor to contrast the heavy cream cheese. And this gives the filling just a very nice, light, fluffy, almost a little bit ice cream-y texture. It's not going to be so heavy. That's our 2 ingredients in there. I'm going to pour in ½ cup of milk. And then I'm going to finish it off with 1/3 of a cup of instant vanilla pudding powder, which is approximately, if you're using a box like this is what I'm using right now, the Jello brand. You can also use the Osem brand. It's about half of the package. So if you're doing a double recipe of this, just throw in the whole box. So I'm going to pour in half of that box, which comes to around just under 1/3 of a cup. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just mix this up until it's nice and smooth. Really fluffy, and the vanilla pudding gives that really great vanilla filling. You can also, once you're done making this base filling, we sometimes did this at home growing up. You take just a little bit of your filling, maybe like 1/3 of it, and you can add cocoa to it, and then you can also create a chocolate filling, so that when we create our layers of the cookies and cream, you can do 1 layer of vanilla cream, and then 1 layer of a chocolate cream, and then you also have a nice contrast of colors in there and flavors. All right, so that's nice and whipped. Okay, I'm gonna move this here so you can see what I'm about to do. We're gonna go ahead and start assembling our cheesecake. So I have over here, you can see, just a rectangular piece of plastic wrap. You can also use foil. Sometimes it's easier to get a clean piece than plastic wrap. And I'm going to start taking my cookies and just dipping them in 1 at a time. And we're going to make 3 rows and you can go however long you want. So in this one over here, I went with 6 cookies long. So you can see how long that is. I'm going to do the same thing again, 6 cookies. If you have a big freezer, you can go ahead and make a 10 cookie one. So you can just serve a lot. If it's just the 2 of you, you can make a small one. So it's up to you how long you want to go. And I'm going to lay these, if you can see, the long way towards me, not not this way, but this way, so that when you fold the layers up into the triangle, you get a nice big triangle, not a very short one with the short side. So you want to have the long side facing like towards you. And these cookies are pretty cool how they just kind of jigsaw puzzle into each other with the little edges. They fit right together. It's kind of like a puzzle. I think that's why it's so fun for kids to do it. So easy. Dip a cookie in and make your rows. So here I have 6. And I'm gonna do my second row over here. And the great thing about this is also, first of all, it's just a no-fail cheesecake. You can't go wrong with this. It can't really flop. And if the cookies break, you know, sometimes you open your bag to find a bunch of crushed cookies. That's fine because you just kind of put them together. Again, it's like a little puzzle over here, so you don't have to worry about it looking perfect as long as you just get a nice even layer of just the cookies. I'm gonna actually go ahead and dip a couple in at a time. You can do this 6 times. And here we go. So that is our base layer. So if you were doing this the flat version, like I showed you before, you can do it even in a pan, almost kind of like a lasagna, to kind of make your layers in a pan, or you can just do it straight open like this and then wrap it up at the end. It depends how you want to serve it. It's prettier and not in a pan because then you can just serve it open on a tray. So that's our first layer. I'm going to go ahead and then start pouring a nice layer of our cheese mix on here. And you want to try and get it as even as possible, making sure to get all the way to the corners, just like that. So that's our first layer of cream. If you were going to do like alternating flavors, the chocolate or the vanilla, you can choose which one you want to go as your base and then which one wants to go as the second one, which is going to end up being the middle of the triangle. Kind of like that Hamantash filling. Okay. That looks nice and even. So we're ready to start layer number 2. Being that this is the triangle one that I'm going to make, it's only 2 layers of cookies and 2 layers of cream. If you're going for the flat version, you can go higher than that. Whoops. See, I started putting my cookie in the wrong direction. Got to put it the long way. If you're doing the flat version, you can go higher. You can do 3 layers of cookies and 3 layers of cream. You know, you can do according to however you like, how high you want and how many layers you want. So we're just filling our rows over here. See, there you go. My cookie just snapped, but it's okay because I'm just gonna put it right in here. And you don't see that part of it, so that's totally fine. All right, our last couple cookies here on our layer. And then I'll show you how we're gonna put on the last filling, which we're not gonna spread the last layer of filling over the whole cake. We're just going to now put filling over the middle row. Only the middle row is gonna get a nice and very generous, just kind of spread whatever you have left onto that middle row. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's all gonna just get smushed into the middle anyway. Okay. So that's just our middle. If you notice, I don't know if you can see, but I made it a little thicker than the first layer because it's going to be in the middle. So when we close it, we want it to fill up the whole middle and not be shallow. So now I'm going to show you how you close it. Very simple. You pick up the sides of the cheesecake, one over here, one over here. I'll turn it around so you can see, and then you just want to fold that into a triangle. So I'm gonna tuck in my arms underneath so I'm supporting the whole thing. and just close that in on each other. Make sure the tops meet, press it together, and voila. So you can see over here how it's this beautiful triangular log. What you're supposed to do now is wrap it up nice and tight and put it into the freezer until it firms up a little bit. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to garnish it and decorate the top. The one that I showed you is not decorated yet, but that's the one that's nice and solid. So this is just going to be popped into the freezer. You could probably decorate it after about, or garnish it after about an hour of being in the freezer. It should be firm enough. This was in the freezer ready for like overnight, and I took it out about an hour ago so it can thaw and slice easily. So I'm going to show you how we're going to garnish it. So the way I grew up and how doing this, and I'm going to show you that way. I'm actually going to show you two ways, because I'm going to show you the triangle one and I'm going to show you the flat one. Is just by having melted chocolate and just pouring that over and smearing it down the sides. So you want to kind of like ice the whole cake in melted chocolate. And you want to make sure that you thaw it enough time before, like you want to give yourself enough time before you serve it to thaw it, so that you can slice through the chocolate easily. So you want the chocolate to come to a room temperature and not be very hard and frozen, because it will end up cracking if the cheesecake is still very frozen. You don't want the cheesecake to come to room temperature, because your wet cookies will end up just cutting. I don't know if it will cut nicely, because they, at room temperature, they'll become a little mushy or soggy from that. So here we go. It's just iced. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect, because I'm gonna actually go ahead and add something else on top of this, which is gonna hide any imperfections. So if you're not the most handy at this kind of thing, have no fear. It's very friendly to all hands. Okay, so here we go. That's our just very simply iced in melted chocolate. And now I have over here some melted white chocolate. Just a tip, when you melt chocolate, first of all, I melted this in the microwave. You can do it on a double boiler, but if you ever do it in the microwave, you want to make sure that you only warm it up or heat it up in 30-second increments, and take 30 seconds, take it out, stir, 30 seconds, stir again. Otherwise, if you just put it in for a minute or a minute and a half at a time, it's gonna burn, and there's nothing sadder than burnt chocolate. So I have over here a little Ziploc bag, which is gonna be my little piping bag. Just a little tip, I like to put it inside a cup to make it easier to pour whatever filling you're putting into the piping bag. And see, now it's all in the bag easily. I'm gonna snip the corner. And then we're just gonna go ahead and just drizzle that right on top. Got a couple lumps in here, so it's making it a little hard to come out. Okay. Not perfect. Hold on. All right. Okay. Since I melted the chocolate, some harder lumps like dried up or got a little harder again, so it's creating a couple lumps in my chocolate. But I'm just taking those little lumps out as they come in here. But if it was freshly melted, then it should squeeze out right out easily, and just create a beautiful drizzled cheesecake over here. Okay, here we go. That's our triangle one. I'm just going to show you how it looks. I'm going to cut it open so you can see an open slice. Okay, hold on, I'm just getting a knife. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a slice off over here. It's cutting really nicely. And There you go. Do you see clip? Do you see that? Okay. Here we go. There's our triangle. Kind of like a hamantash, right? I like to, when I place this, just to give it a little extra garnish, if you like to have a little bit of fun in the kitchen, I'm going to just take a little bit of a chocolate bar and just shave some chocolate right over that. It creates beautiful like chocolate curls. Really easy. You have a full full bar here, and I'm using a chocolate a vegetable peeler, and just kind of shaving that on top and making these beautiful chocolate curls. And you can also just go around the edge of the plate so that you're decorating the whole plate in these beautiful curls. This shape kind of reminds me of Mount Sinai, the little mountain, the smallest mountain of all. Remember, God chose the smallest mountain out of all the mountains to show the importance of humility and not being arrogant. So God chose the smallest mountain, Mount Sinai, to give the Torah. And this kind of commemorates that, I guess, a little bit by having a little mountain cheesecake. So there you have it. Our little triangle cheesecake with some chocolate curls on top. And same thing with the flat one. I only went with 2 layers of cream with in between 3 layers of cookies. I would have gone higher had I seen how, just realized how like short it would be. I think I would go with cookie, cream, cookie, cream, cookie, cream, and then like so 3 layers, so that it would just have a little bit of a fuller look. But over here we go. I'm just gonna drizzle our white chocolate again. Smear it actually. There we go. I'm pouring the rest of that piping bag into there. And we're just gonna smear that on top. Nothing like good white chocolate melted. Really delicious. You can let it drip down the sides. And I'm gonna go ahead again with my chocolate shavings, chocolate curls, and just get that right on top of that whole layer. And there we go. I'm going to show you how that slices. You can also make these even individual portions in little like muffin or cupcake holders, and then just put a dollop of whipped cream on top and some chocolate syrup if you want to go really, really simple. And also when you cut this, you can either serve it whole, and then, you know, if you're putting it on a buffet table, people can slice it for themselves. Or you could cut it into pre-cut pieces and serve them as individual portions. So I'm going to go and show you just how it looks when it's cut. There we go. I don't know if you can see the layers of the cookies and cream. We got the chocolate curls on top. I will just go and add more chocolate curls on this before I actually serve it, but it's just to show you the idea of how the chocolate curls should come out. And I think that's it for today. Thank you everybody for joining. We're going to be posting the pictures of all the recipes that are shown tonight. We're gonna post pictures of those recipes on Facebook. We can also, if you don't have access to Facebook, you can message whichever one of us you know that we're on the show, and we can send you a PDF file with all the recipes, so that you can try and make these at home. Have some fun in the kitchen, try on your recipes before the holiday, starting this week on Thursday night. Check up, you know, the time of sunset in your city. You can light the holiday candles, and the holiday continues into Shabbat as well. It's a 2-day holiday. Friday night you can light the Shabbat candles and celebrate Shavuot at home with your family and in spirit together with all of us. So, Chag Sameach, happy Shavuot, and we'll see you next time.
Anyone who wants to watch the tutorial again can go on Facebook. The video is on the Kayla's page, and you can rewatch it there.